Well, hello, Forest Meadow, and I want to welcome you back to another episode of our sermon reflections. And for those of you who joined us this last week, obviously we spent some time looking at Mary as she was presenting this wonderful offering to Jesus. And so it stirs up a lot of things in my mind. I'm not sure that Mary really knew what she was doing, that she was preparing the Lord for his burial. But it really seems to me like Mary was just simply doing what she knew she was supposed to do. And the Lord used it for himself, and in return, the Lord used it to honor Mary. I love her so much. She has such a beautiful disposition when it comes to Jesus. She is constantly at his feet, and I believe that we can learn so much from her and her humility. In a way, her offering it doesn't surprise me at all. It's not as though this is an extraordinary part of her heart that is suddenly revealed. Why do I say that? Well, because I believe that her heart already has been revealed in previous passages. But it's here that she finally has this opportunity to bring an extraordinary offering of worship that matched the size of her heart. And Mary, she was just in a humble position. She was just, in a woman in those days was in a humble position. But it seems like in that position of humility, she constantly throws herself into other positions of humility, a position of submission to Jesus, a position to learn from Jesus, a position to bring an offering to Jesus. And so the more humble a position we maintain, I think the more of the lordship of Christ, the more that it becomes evident. And often the lower that we are, the greater we can see him. Consider why the pure in heart are blessed and can see God. I guess what we can learn from Mary and her profuse offering of pure nard is that it is from the lowliest of positions that we have the greatest of all dispositions to worship. And it's from the most humble and meek states that offer this lofty vision of the supreme worth of Jesus. It really is her meekness that we have so much to learn from. It strips away all of the value and worth of this world. It's our lack that reveals the inability of the world to satisfy and enables us to offer to Christ all that is within our world. We can offer everything that we have. And so Mary, her offering wasn't wasted. There was nothing that is wasted that is offered up to Christ. Now let's consider what Spurgeon said in relation to the widow's mite. He asked, is anything ever wasted which is all for Jesus? What others called a waste, Jesus calls beautiful. The way that Melissa Neal, she put it was, the true worship that is God's is a treasure that the richest man could not buy, and which no man is too poor to give. In other words, it's not about the size of the offering that you give to God, but it is about the size of your heart when you give to God. And so, brothers and sisters, we have an opportunity in this life to present to God all that we have and all that we are. But consider this. There's a cost. It costs us everything. This is the cost of being a disciple, that our lives, as Paul said, are being poured out as a drink offering. And as we do this, as we pour out our lives to God, we carry with us, like Mary, the fragrance of Christ to others. And so think about it for a minute. It was the humility of the exalted Son of God that brought us salvation, we who were hopeless. And it's through our humility that we will be able to reach others. Not because we are better than they are, but because we ourselves were pulled out of the same pit, right? Jesus has shown us the glory of humility by giving us salvation through the cross. And when we do the same, whenever it is that we humble ourselves and reach to others from this very unique position of humble love, then they can see the same things that we see. And what is that? Well, Acts 4:12. There is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven that has been given among men by which we must be saved. That's the hope for our neighbors. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our questions for the week. Our first question is this: why did Mary anoint Jesus? Number 2, why was she the only one in the group to participate in this specific activity? Number 3, what did her preparation of the offering indicate? Number 4, why was her response different from that of the other apostles? Number 5, what was the apostles' response and why? Number 6, what was Judas's response and why? And also, why was Judas an apostle to begin with? Number 7, why did the chief priests offer 30 pieces of silver for Jesus? And why did Judas accept that valuation? Number 8, who did the apostles see when they looked at Jesus? And who did Judas see, on the other hand? Number 9, what did Mary know that the others had missed? And who did she see when she looked at Jesus? And number 10, let's be reflective here. What do we see when we see Jesus? And do our actions confirm this or deny it? Well, that's about all the time that we have for today, but just as a quick teaser, this next week we're going to be looking at the blood of the covenant, Jesus says, which is poured out for the forgiveness of sins. And so we truly hope that you guys will take the time to join us this next week. And also, before you go, I just want to give a huge thanks to both Dave Beutler and to Melissa Neal for continuing to help with the production of all of this content and the questions. And so if you see them, give them a huge thanks, a high five, a hug, and let them know how you're benefiting from all of this stuff. And so thank you guys so much for taking the time to join us today and for your desire to dig deeper into the scriptures. And I hope you have a great day.